had snakes in my house and everything else, but those ants were the freakiest. I had another ant encounter in that same house, and I think this was the first one too. I think the ants in the house might have been the second one. But I had some of my staff over. We had a barbecue in the back. I had a really nice, huge banyan tree that was growing out of the rocks. My house was really on a steep thing, so it was a small house in several little levels, so you're always going up and down. And you could go over, and there was this patio, this huge banyan tree covering it. It had some cement benches and planters and stuff. And so we were out there barbecuing. And the neighbor's dog would hang out with me. My neighbors were the casino girls, and they worked at night. So they were never there. So I was there at night, so the dog would come over. And so he was hanging out with us. We're having a good time. And suddenly he started to growl, and the hair went up on the back of his neck. And he went over behind my house by the kitchen door. Well, about 3 feet from the kitchen door, this mountain that I'm built up against goes pretty much straight up, you know, right up against it. So I'm thinking, is there a critter back there or something? I didn't, you know, was there a person messing around? Probably not. Dog wasn't too excited, and he came back. And then I went into the kitchen to get some beer, bring it back out to the party. I went into the kitchen, and there were a bunch of the real big cockroaches on the kitchen floor. Well, I hadn't seen any of those. And they were all there dead on their backs. What happened here? And I thought maybe somebody had come in, saw them and killed them. I don't know. Went back out. Dog went back again later, a few minutes later, growling, sniffing around. And then I went back to check it out, and that's when I saw the ants. There were ants pouring out of the hill behind my kitchen door, coming across our patio where we were having the party. So we were all looking at this. It was great. And there were several columns, and one column in particular I was watching came across I had a cement bench, garden bench. It came up to the garden bench, up the side, across the top, and the bench, the top of the bench was an overhang. It overhung the two legs. They get out to the end, and immediately a bunch of them formed a living ladder from the top down to the ground. And without even slowing down, the whole column went down this living ladder of ants, kept on going, and went off into the rocks. There was another column that went up into a cement planter, and we were over there watching. And the planter was just a heaving, it was just sort of heaving like this. It was about like this big, with ants. And there was a gecko in there, like a lizard. And it was just being devoured, you know, by these ants. And, you know, we didn't mess with them. You mess with them and you disturb them, they get all confused and anxious, and they do their thing, you know, and they scatter, and then you know, you got a mess. But if you just let them alone, you know, they'll continue on and be gone. But I had often seen them crossing roads and stuff. When I'm out in the bush driving around, you'd often see them. I saw them in my when I would come home. I had a Land Rover. I'd come in through the gate and park my car right here. Then I'd walk up steps to my house. And I came home one night, and there was like a crisscrossing columns of these ants that had come in from somewhere, and they were going off somewhere. And it looked like a bunch of snakes on the ground, you know.
Weird.
Wild.